excited for tonight. I'm really excited to mastermind together and to grow together, and hopefully we inspire one another. I think Rachel and I were talking that out of anything, I think our goal is to inspire hope for the courage to do the next step forward and whatever it is you're doing and whatever lane you're in.
I found
Okay.
to joining a mastermind in general or like having peers was it just gives you confidence. It's just such a nice feeling, like the environment piece Jen mentioned. It's incredible knowing that people are behind you. So hopefully if you haven't met everybody here yet, you might make a friend or keep in touch after the fact.
You're all going to meet each other tonight. Well, I'm infamous for starting meetings a little bit early, but we're a minute after. So let's let it rip. And then if we have people jump on, that's cool. And I'm excited to have everybody join us. So we created this class. I was just saying that mostly out of we get a lot of calls for people looking like to start their business. What do we do? We're pretty heavy on social media. Thank you, Rachel, and marketing and branding. Rachel has so much to offer that way that it's like a gift for everybody. But our goal is that I think we want to inspire hope, hope and the power of numbers to move forward in whatever that we're doing. So who we are, I'll let Rachel start that off.
Yeah, I'm the marketing and brand strategist at Gale Group now, but I think a lot of you know me from before that when I was a newborn photographer and I operated a little boutique studio in Woodstock for 13 years. And I started it with my dad's like SLR, his little camera, and I don't know, I guess a lot of confidence that maybe was a little bit unearned, but I felt like I could maybe do it a little bit better than what was happening out there. So I just kind of just kept putting things into action until I grew my business and I look back now and I kind of giggle, but that's kind of what got me through it and what allowed me to kind of build different skills and things like that. So, and then I landed at Gill Group, which has been amazing, amazing.
And that's one of those things that we'll talk about as we dive a little bit further. I'm a big proponent in who, not how. When you want to go far, you need people around you. You need the right people in the right seats, and whoever that is, whether that's if you're solo and that's just your husband or your family, like all in on what you're doing, or the community. Make sure that everybody, I'm going to jump right into it. Very important as we start this journey, wherever you're at in that journey, that everybody in your circle knows what you're doing, why you're doing it, the commitment that it's going to take from you, and have everybody on that same page with you. Because going out and when we do anything for ourselves or build our business, it requires stuff of us. It requires time away. There's not a lot of balance sometimes, but just making sure that everybody is on page with you. And I guess you all know who I am, but thinking about this journey, and now we own Gale Group, and that's been really exciting. And it's really been a thing of building the engine while we fly. The need was there. My heart was there. I didn't know how I would do it. I don't have a lot of the skill sets that would necessarily be able to build a business like that, but it came together. And a fun little fact, when we started the Gale Group, we started that we had no budget. Like we didn't have any income for it. We started it with a very measly amount in the bank in that business, and we worked our way through it. So for the first month, everybody that's working with us behind the scenes are like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And we were rolling off of a lot of blind faith. And you know what? So far, it's worked one step at a time, one vision at a time, one thing at a time. So I think sometimes we hold ourselves back from some of the bigger things that we want to do because we think we want it to be perfect. I need to have X amount in the bank. I need to have systems and structures. I want us to throw out the old ideas. So That's a lot of verbiage. I get pretty excited when I talk. I'm like drinking out of a fire hose. So most of you know that about me.
I love it.
So this is going to be a framework and not just theory. This is going to be about courage, mindset, and action. That's what we're going to dive into this first week and dive into it for the next 4 weeks as we go. Um, write down the reality of what this is. Your habits define your future. Your mindsets, your mindset beats luck every time. That's all, everything is starts and stops in the mind. Clarity turns busy work into meaningful work. Progress, not perfection, is what builds the momentum. And money without fulfillment isn't success, it's emptiness. So diving into a deeper why than a monetary purpose. So mindset is what first we need some clear direction. So Rachel will dive further into it, but it helps here in mindset too. Being very clear from the onset about who am I? That question we're going to ask ourselves, who am I? What problem do I solve? And being very clear on that. We have to have that direction. And we're by no means, have this all figured out, but we're learning and we pay to be in a lot of the right rooms with a lot of people that are a lot smarter than us. And the message is consistently clear. It doesn't matter what business you're in, sales, you know, whatever you're doing, it's going to be the same. So I encourage everybody when you're looking at it to always go deep, not wide. Think about this. You want to go 12 feet deep, 1 inch wide. Who am I? What do I solve? And when we're looking at mindset, a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. So this is very clinically proven. Everybody wants to identify as being open-minded. Everybody. So if I say to you, Rachel, would you be open-minded to learn about this? Instantaneously, Rachel is going to say yes, because she wants to identify as open-minded, but as humans, we have fixed mindsets. And we need to identify where that fixed mindset could be. You know, great book that I suggest. We're going to send out reading list after. So this was a game changer for me. Carol DeWick on mindset. She dives deep into fixed versus growth mindset. So changing that, when we're looking at our beliefs and what we think, I bet you if we went around the room here, everybody would have a narrative. I want to start this, but what will people think of me? I don't want to be too out there. I don't want to bother people. So one of the steps is we have to look at where our mindsets are fixed. Does everybody identify with that when I say those things to you? Just that natural, ugh, I want to, but what will people think of me? So that's like we have to drop those old ideas. So looking at that and diving in a little bit, I want everybody to do a quick visualization of who am I? And what does your business solve for you? Everybody goes into business and outside of money, what is that going to solve in your life? And future pace that out to next year. If this is successful, when it's successful, and all the pieces come into play, what does that look like for me? What does that look like for my family? What does that look like for where I want to go? And get very clear on that. We have to have a clearer, deeper reason for why we're going. Clarity in your brain is going to create clarity in your business. So, first things first. And we'll talk about getting started. Rachel, you want to jump in?
I do. We kind of touched on this a little bit, but it's all about small steps. We don't want to overwhelm ourselves, and having that clarity on who you are can really make the process of figuring out the pieces of your business a lot simpler because you know where it's coming from. So while you're thinking about kind of who you are and what you're doing, some core pillars for like a business foundation is who you serve. So it's always really important to know kind of like I don't want to get too much into avatars and things like that, but who are the people that you serve? And that can be really simple. In my past life, it was really easy. Newborn mothers were my main audience that I served. What problem do you solve? How are you helping them? And this works for product-based businesses too. It doesn't have to just be, and it can be broader. For me, it was how to make newborn portraits easier. And then you're going to want to think about how you show up. So this is just kind of, it's easiest when you show up as yourself, and
Yeah.
it's kind of a magnified version of you, like you at a level 10 is a good way. Um, but you're going to think about that. It's nice when that can kind of fit in with who you are, and it just makes business so much simpler when you can kind of just radiate who you are. Because I believe in life, who we are comes through in everything that we do. And that can be kind of a core definer of what your business is. And then this is the big piece. You want to think about how you can do it better or different than your competitors. And a lot of people kind of we want to put our blinders on to some degree at what our competitors are doing. We don't want to get caught in the weeds on that stuff. But when you're first kind of considering these things, it's nice to kind of think about the why. And in my case, I was like, well, I think I can do it a little bit better. I had a friend who came back to me, had just had a baby, and told me this kind of not so fun experience they had having newborn photos taken. The baby was crying the whole time. The photographer didn't know how to soothe the baby or soothe the parents, that sort of thing. So that stuck with me that I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to be making the lives of my clients more difficult. And so those are kind of things that you can think about when you're creating that client experience and thinking about how you want to show up for people. So, what I would like for you to do is while you're thinking about who you are, why don't we all introduce ourselves and just tell us what your business is? If we want to kind of go around, maybe get some volunteers. So, just your name, what your business, and you're really going to own it because this is hard. This was actually the hardest thing for me with my business is I was so nervous to start it and say, "Hi, I'm Rachel. I'm a photographer." I
Yeah.
felt like a phony, and I had a friend who was a photographer, and I was mortified to tell her because I thought she's going to think I'm copying her or like it was the worst. And then eventually I built up the courage to say it, but I think it actually took like a year for me to feel like I could say it without feeling like a big fat phony, as my husband would say. So who would like to start? Just your name and who you are, what you do.
I can start. My name is Jackie Thomas, and I'm a realtor.
Jackie?
Hi, Jackie.
Hello.
Kasha, do you want to go next?
I'm Kasha,
I'll
and
go.
I'm also a realtor.
Mhm.
Tasha?
And Kasha, you started real estate not that long ago.
Yes.
Feel weird to say I'm a realtor sometimes still?
No, I'm owning it
I
now.
love that.
Like,
That's amazing.
it's like, thank God Toyota's out of here. I'm a realtor now. It's exciting. It's fun. Yeah, I love it.
I love that. Alyssa, I'm going to pick on you because I know you.
Oh, you got to unmute. She's talking to us a lot. She got to unmute.
Let's see if I can ask you to Oh,
Now you need to rinse and repeat that.
Sorry. I'm Alyssa. I own Salon 61 Spa, and I sell Aveda products.
So,
Thanks.
Melissa?
who else can I pick on here?
Hi, everybody.
Hi. Hi, Kim.
I'm Kim, and I'm a real estate agent as well.
Love it.
Good.
I'm Katrina. I'm an accountant, and I own my own business strategy, finance, and accounting firm.
Amazing. Nice to meet you, Katrina.
Who can we pick on? Ed, come to the table.
Good evening, everybody. No video for me tonight. I just came in from cutting the lawn. I wasn't feeling very photogenic. Uh, so currently, I'm still employed by Toyota Motor Manufacturing. I've been there for 23 years. I have owned a small business in the past. Back when karaoke was big, owned a karaoke disc jockey outfit. We had multiple units running around. So basically, right now I'm just waiting for real estate courses to begin October 1st. So I'm here attending to get my foot in and see what I can learn before I actually get the license.
Awesome.
So congrats, Ed.
Isabella, can you hear us? Oh, sorry. I was going to the corner. Sorry, Jen. Jump in.
Okay. My name's Jen, and I am getting my real estate license.
Awesome.
Addie, do you want to jump in? You can let us hear the construction. We don't mind.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Hello, everyone. So I am, my name's Addie, and I am a vintage houseware seller.
Very cool.
Hi, Addie. Chelsea, can we put you on the spot?
Hi, I am Chelsea and I am a silversmith, so I make silver jewelry.
Awesome. It's beautiful too.
Thank you.
Carla, right in the hot seat.
I'm Carla, and whew, I am a life coach that I specialize in aligned path. I'm creating a coaching program called Your Aligned Path.
Oh, I love it.
That is so weird to say.
It's good that we practice this together because when we build the courage to say it together, then when we're one-on-one with people, it's very easy to say with a nice handshake, I am this, right? And so the group atmosphere always feels challenging, but it warms us up for the one-on-one, which is really easy after we practice.
Yeah, it gets easier. It's actually harder like this.
I would suggest you practicing if you're not comfortable with that. As hokey as it sounds, if you sit in the mirror, put a towel under the door so nobody sees you and practice saying into the mirror, I'm Jen Gale. I own a real estate brokerage. And just so it starts flowing off, because I think in business we suffer a lot from imposter syndrome. We're like, oh, we want to shrink into it, but we need to step into fear. Fear, like, that's one of the faith or fear, and there's natural fear around everything, but we have to become the people that walk forward in fear. It's going to do two things to us, right? We're going to pull in or pull forward. So we got to push forward. We're those people now, starting today. Sarah, can we put you on the spot?
Hi.
Hi.
Yes, you can. I am currently sitting in a parking lot waiting for my daughter to finish dance in London. So I will soon be driving, so I won't have my camera on. I am an ECE by day. I work for Good Beginnings in Woodstock, and I just recently started a photo magnet press little business. So I'm hoping to see what I can do with that.
Exciting.
And I think we just had someone log on here.
Isabella, can you hear us?
Hey guys, sorry about that. I was putting my baby to sleep, so I couldn't go on. My name is Isabella, and I am a mortgage agent right now, but I also own two stores in the Cambridge and Waterloo region called Crumby Cookie Dough and B1 Market.
Awesome.
Heather, did you want to come on and introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Heather Knott. I run Heather Knott Design. So I'm a freelance graphic designer, and I basically do anything that you can imagine visually with marketing, digital or print. I specialize in logos and branding. So
Awesome.
Christine, I know you're trying to shy away up there, but I'm not going to let you. I see you.
Hi, I'm Christine Hamalaki, and I am also a real estate agent.
Awesome. So this is awesome. We have now our community, and hopefully within our community, we will continue our community and hopefully collaborate together and see ways that each other will talk about community and building and how important that is. But we'll make friends within each other and we'll look further at how we can help each other.
I think too, you know, we kind of touched on those introductions, but there's kind of a real fear of being seen by a lot of people. But it seems like everybody in here rocked it, and you didn't seem nervous about it at all. So
And I think that will lead us into today, we're doing that broad spectrum. So we're going to jump into the courage to market. So I see a lot of times, one of my thoughts when I'm looking at businesses, I'm like, why aren't they marketing? Why aren't they, you got to get out there. Why aren't you getting out there? And knowing how much courage it takes to market, the frequency you should market, what you should be marketing. Again, it's that fear. When we think about that fear too, I don't want to upset. What are they going to say about me? And I think one of the things we have to dismantle is who are they? Who are the famous they that we're always talking about? But Rachel's gonna talk on that. And if you guys have seen all of our digital marketing creating, I watched Rachel grow her business. We met in a back alley.
we really did, yeah.
We did in 2015, and she was running her photography studio out of her home at that time. And I was up and coming realtor. And I got a magazine cover. It was such a big deal. And Rachel was the freelance photographer. We met in this back alley and we were both fumbling along and couldn't believe that we were doing this. And I've watched her build her business right from there to here. And so when I got that opportunity to see how she marketed and branded, and when that opportunity came, I was like, oh, I want your hand on my brand. And she has proven herself just absolutely stellar and just a great human, which I think comes across in all of her marketing. I hope that you guys see that, but you're gonna for sure know that. And I think personally, there is no one better to talk about brand and brand building than Rachel Little. That's my personal sentiment. I could be biased, but she has great.
I can second that.
Well, Jen's an excellent marketer too, and I think why we work so well together is we're both implementers. We like to get things done and we move quickly. But the biggest thing that helped me because early on in my business, I was really excited to share what I was doing with people, but after I overcame like actually saying that I was a photographer, but I still felt weird about selling. Like I felt like you got your little price sheet and you're trying to talk people into working with you. What I kind of found the biggest help for me was reframing it from selling to serving. So once I was kind of able to think of it as the way that I'm helping people, and how what we're doing is impacting and thinking about final impact on what we're doing, it makes the whole selling, marketing, everything, that piece kind of flows a lot easier. Because when you're marketing, if you're hitting that hard sale a lot with what you're doing, it just kind of people just scroll past. You need to do that too. You really do need to show up and show your face, but you also have to bring value and use that empathy piece to kind of really think about who you are and who that client is that you're serving and make every piece of marketing speak directly to the people that you're serving. So I'll kind of mention one thing that kind of got me going. Has anyone ever felt like nervous to advertise? Like you can even enter it in the chat or throw your hand up. Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel like you're bugging people kind of a little bit? Yeah, that was definitely, I share that sentiment. I still do sometimes, honestly, but you have to just, like I said, put your blinders on and think about your mission. And the people that are ready to hear what you have to say are the ones who are listening. So that's the other thing too. And it's okay if people aren't hearing you, they're not quite yet on that journey. And we'll get into that further down the line. But the first client I ever got, I had finally had the courage to say, yeah, I'm a photographer now. I'm kind of taking pictures for people. And this is before me and Jen met. I was working full time in other jobs, so I was trying to figure out how to make money on this side business that I did want to do full time. I hadn't admitted that to myself yet, but that was what I was hoping. Kind of starts with a wish. It was someone that I worked with, and we talked about cameras. She lived in Burlington area, and she was like, "Oh, you like to do photography?" So I sent her some pictures, and she's like, "Well, I'd like to hire you to take pictures of my family. Would you be interested in that?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" So what do I charge? So I said, well, what about $150? I was like thinking like, oh my gosh, she's gonna say no. And she was so excited. She had me come out and I went to Burlington, took pictures of her kids. Like we still keep in touch today. And it's just that little bit of putting yourself out there. It's kind of builds confidence over time. So after I was done that shoot, I was like feeling like on such a high, and it kind of builds itself. So even though when you're creating content or doing any piece of marketing like that, you initially might feel kind of icky. You might get no replies. You might get nothing. Even this week, I was a little humbled. I did my reels and whatnot, and you're like, oh, the views are a little low. But then you get those messages and you get those responses, and it kind of brings you back to what Jen was talking about earlier, that you kind of have to know who you are and what your bigger why for doing all this is. And yeah, so action builds confidence. In marketing, it's the same. And it does take a lot of kind of trial and error. But my advice to anyone who's kind of starting out on that journey is just choose one platform. Don't, try to scatter your efforts everywhere. Choose one platform. I highly recommend, if you social media, post daily. That can be a challenge. It's a lot, but once a week is okay too. But daily, you're really going to start to get that immediate feedback.
You got to do once a day. She's going light. You got to go once a day.
I'm with Jen.
Really, the marketing departments are saying 3 times a day. We're really trying to go light on you to start here.
Yeah. Once a day.
I'm the truth teller.
Does anybody here already do that?
I do.
Yeah, you definitely do, Jen.
Kasha does.
Kasha does, yeah. It's tough. It's tough at first, but it's actually really fun too once you get into the hang of it. And it's a commitment to yourself. It's like anything else in life, you working out, like Jen always says, you put it in the reps. And the more you practice, the easier it gets. And you just build that confidence the more you do it, and you start to get that little bit of positive feedback, and it does work.
And I'm going to jump in there.
Yep.
The truth is that we don't know who's watching us. The people that are going to be our clients and our consumers are most likely the people that are watching and not saying anything. So being okay with that, like even if you have to post something and throw your phone in a ditch, just just do that and just have that, like Rachel said, the mission so clear. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks, says, or does. I agreed. I'm going to go to any length for my business. This is one of the pillars. We're making that commitment any length. I'm willing to go to any length. And that's part of it. Sorry, I got excited about that.
No, I absolutely agree. And make that commitment and set yourself a timeline. Like if you're gonna make it once a day, just say like, I'm gonna do it to the end of the month. It's like, how people say, oh, I'm gonna, cut out sugar or whatever your thing is. And then you get there and you're like, oh, I feel really good. So I guess I'll keep going. You'll find that with this too. And simple formats, like do what's doable. Like if reels aren't your thing, or video or TikTok, it can be like Jen, you're famous for doing 3 pictures a day, a really long story, not a really long story, but a good story. But it's a good piece of content that comes from the heart. Don't worry about spelling, grammar, a lot of that stuff we kind of get caught up in. And really just think about that client perspective. So in my case with newborn moms, I was thinking about what was keeping them up at night other than their baby. And sometimes it was just their baby. But it's the worries, the fears, and the way that you can speak to your ideal audience that feels like you're getting in their head. And that can seem hard, but a great exercise is to just sit down with a piece of paper and just write out all of your client worries, concerns, and things that they think about. And then you can come in and talk about those things, talk about how you can help with the business. And it's just such a great way to kind of get in the head of the client and then also use that as like a nice little content bank to help you get started.
And a story. Tell a story around it. We all have we have a story every day. There's something that goes on in our life every day, and just writing that story to go along with it. You know, this is what happened. This was my experience. And, speak to the heart and who you are, but storytelling is very important. And a good part about that grammar, so our coach is like, he's a marketing maniac and he is not very like punctuation and all that stuff. But he said, I went on stage and it's in front of 1,000 women, and one of the ladies is like, I get those emails and I want to check you for your grammar. And he's like, fantastic. That means you read it. It doesn't matter. It's okay. That's humanness too.
Another thing that, oh, sorry, go ahead, please.
No, that's okay. I don't know if like you guys want that kind of chime in or if it's just like no. But I was just gonna say there was research a while ago to another group that I'm part of, and they said that so if you have 100 followers, 30% will actually engage, and the other 70% they're watching, but they don't necessarily always engage, right? And so if you're thinking that you have a low engagement, that's okay because people won't always comment on everything, right? But they're always watching. So there might be that one thing that does catch their attention, and then weeks will go by and they'll continue watching, but won't necessarily engage.
That's a very good point because I think one thing we forget about, especially with social media, is there's a whole like sector of social media in the US that they're all part of the creator fund. They're creating content for entertainment and their main source of income is from views. But as business owners, we have to look at social media so much differently because there's a lot of people kind of hiding in the woodwork. And honestly, might even just see your face in a reel. They might not even watch it, but they saw your face. And like Jen always says, you want to be the obvious choice in your industry to go with. And if they're seeing you're out there doing things, that's almost more important than your message sometimes. It's kind of wild. So there's a lot of people that are lurking but not commenting at all. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Another spin on that too, when we're creating business, is that spirit of reciprocity, right? So we're on socials. We want people like we're scared, we're putting it out there. Be that person that likes and comments. Be that person that consistently shows up, because that just like unconsciously creates a spirit of connection. So Jen and I hadn't met each other before last weekend, but I knew her very well from socials. I knew her person. I felt like I knew a lot about her. She was liking and commenting on a lot of my stuff, and probably vice versa. But through just doing that, that puts your name into that consumer's mind. So anytime you have the opportunity to give back or to support somebody, do not let that fall short. Do not be the lurker. Be the one that is cheering other people on. Be the commenter. Show up in people's lives, because it just unconsciously creates that you're a spirit of contribution. Another great story around that, my best friend is a mortgage broker, best friends for a long time, done business with her forever. So I have this other mortgage broker who starts showing up in my brokerage chats, and he's commenting and liking. And he did that so much that he had the opportunity to come in to my brokerage in front of 50 agents and do a presentation. And other mortgage brokers are like, how the heck did you get in there? Well, you know what? He showed up and showed a spirit of generosity, and you can't turn down somebody that's doing that for you. You cannot do that. So thinking about that bigger picture and the giving, and it's in the small acts, it's in the small things. How you do small things is how you do everything. Be a contributor before we're going to be a receiver.
Yeah, that's huge. A good framework for that too, like sometimes you need to remember is before you post anything, just spend 10 or 15 minutes looking through, your feed, commenting, writing a real comment too, if you can, a thoughtful comment. Comment on people's stories, just let them know you're in their corner. Yeah, you'll never know who you meet. I love that.
Do that like it's your job because it is part of your job now.
Yeah.
It's actually, in my calendar when I'm mapping out my days, I put social media because when I go on there, I need to be a contributor. I have to do that as much as possible.
Yeah. It's hugely important. We didn't touch on the judgment part either, did we, Jen? About feeling judged sometimes, because you're going to feel that way when you start to put content out. And Jen, why don't you say it? You put this so well.
Which part?
Oh, the people who judge tend to.
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday, and always keep at the front of your mind, people who judge are judging themselves, right? We are never judging people when we're in the space of spirit of giving or anything, but the people who are judging us are busy judging themselves. So when we get caught judging others too, that's a reminder for us to get back in our lane, right? We don't want to be judged, so we're not going to judge. And when we're not judging anything, we don't feel like we're being judged. It's just the law of how the mind works, right? So be careful about that. And that's part of that mindset, getting your mindset over. We have to be who we want, or like be how we want people to perceive us. So, and let go of that fear too. Everybody's got opinions. I always say none of them are going to and paying your mortgage at night. How many of them will be in the hospital with you at your bedside when you're sick or at your funeral? Those are the people that matter. Everybody else, their opinions are not necessary to you. That's a simple framework just in life, but just keep that very real.
Yeah. So simple formats for socials, some ideas that we can recommend. Sharing your story. So we talked about stories being really powerful. Sharing your story, even your journey as you're building your business, what's happening in your day. A simple go-to that I would do all the time. And people would be like, oh, I saw you. I'd have people come up to me in the street that I never met. I think I saw you on Instagram. And I would just record my day. I would record my day. It takes a little bit longer to do some things, but record it, throw it up on socials. I did a lot of stories, but we'll get into that later. I think posting to TikTok or Instagram, I find Instagram's a little bit better for local stuff, but just put it up there, share it, share your day. Another one is client wins. Anytime you can show that transformation of what that you're kind of taking the client on the journey, like here's what could happen if you work with us, and sharing that is an easy piece of content. And it's extra great if you have the client share that themselves, like testimonials or even like a video testimonial. It's a bit of extra work, but it's totally, totally worth it because you can recycle that for other things too.
And people they like social proof. They like that, right? So you're providing social proof for people, proof, a testimonial, what that experience is like with you. We're in a trust recession right now. Like that's the reality of our world right now. We're all feeling it in some way, shape, form, whatever business you're in. So providing social proof, showing up as who you are, authentic, being a giver, those things are more important now than ever.
Yeah.
And can I just throw in, ChatGPT is amazing to help you create a story. Like if you want a picture, describe your picture in ChatGPT and it's going to spit everything out for you, copy paste to your story. Done. 5 minutes. I mean, you can tweak it. You can say, no, I don't want this in there because that's not what I'm trying to say. You can change it. And it honestly takes like 5 minutes and it's been my best friend.
Yeah. I just talk into it half the time. I'm like, I've got an idea. I
Yeah.
want to create this reel with this idea. Can you write me a quick script? You go through it, record it in sections, and it's your ideas, your vision, but you just put your own spin on it afterwards. And it's a great brainstorming tool because you can use it for market research and things like that too. we'll definitely get more into that because I think it's kind of just a mainstay now in my day-to-day business life. As much as we kind of are like, oh, AI, well, if you use it correctly, it's actually such a game changer and it allows you to do higher quality work, I think, and more of it, which is we kind of have to do. We have to add to that noise. We have to make sure we're getting that marketing out as much as we can. So thanks,
And
Kash.
remember, attention is the new currency. We live in a society attention is the currency. How do we gain attention? How do we get an audience? How do we capture that audience? So frequency, consistency, showing up as who you are, just write that down. Attention is the new currency. Very hard to catch people's attention now. We're all like, ah.
So true. And then a final piece that you can always try out of content is just lessons that you've learned. It's like any sort of teachable, like informational content is really helpful. But if you kind of put a personal spin on it, it's really nice. And we have a lot of realtors here, a lot of service-based businesses. So you have that special gift that you are the face of your brand. It honestly makes things so much simpler from like crafting a brand standpoint. You are your brand, but being able to have that perspective that is uniquely yours, you can do certain types of content like this pretty effortlessly. So, yeah. Does everyone feel pretty good about that? Like if we did, would everyone be comfortable committing to a post a day for the next week? Am I pushing people too hard, Jen?
I say we push hard.
Okay.
We commit to a post a day, one post a day. We'll see each other on socials, one post a day about just the things that we've talked about, story, inspiration, guiding people down the path of who you are, what you are, why you are. We can have the courage to step into us, who we are.
You can take a picture of this screen and be like, training.
First low hanging
Here you go, your first
here.
your first post.
Yeah, this is working on my business on a Wednesday night. I'm committed to my business.
Yeah.
How great is this to get together?
Carla's in. Yay, Carla. That's awesome. And we kind of chatted about the role of community. Jen, do you want to kind of take it from here?
Yeah, we just talked about the role of community. So I think when we get into business, thinking about becoming a contributor to our community, wherever that is, and how do we elevate that community? How do we come together and create community? We talked about that low-hanging fruit of just liking and being present to other people's social media. I'm a big proponent on, leaving Google reviews for everybody in your community. I just cannot stress this enough. When we are contributors in a positive way to our community, people will contribute back to us. So building that out around you. And I think when we show up as who we are, we're going to attract the people that are supposed to be around us. I'm a law of attraction, whatever you want to call it. I can get a little like, woohoo. But I like that. It's worked for me for 50 years, so I will go to the wire for that. Becoming fully who we are and attracting that and building our community around us. So our community becomes the people that will say our name everywhere we go when we're not there. Our community is the one that shows up to our events. Our community is the people that share our posts. The community is who will encourage us. The community is who I call when I'm under the wire, because in any kind of business, there's days when you're like, man, I don't think that this is going to work out. Like, why am I doing this? Like, wow, I got to retreat. And community comes together to push us forward and build it and propel it. So, you can go fast alone and you can go far together. And whether, we opened it up with our community at home and having people supporting us and appreciating us, but building a community around you of like-minded people and all sorts of different careers, and, the ideas flow where you feel safe, where you feel validated, and having the spirit of contribution to make the community better. Katrina and I had lunch. We talked about community at a bigger aspect. I think that I'm a big believer that anybody in Oxford County now has an exponential opportunity now, because it's a great place to start a business because it needs more. It needs more coming together. So to be have that aspect in your mind will create more for you. Not necessarily more monetary wise, but it will create more fulfillment. And I think that that's what we really want. When we look at that going deep and not wide, money's only going to drive it so far. There has to be a fulfillment. There has to be a bigger purpose. There has to be more. And building that out with your community. And looking, I said at the beginning, I look around and I think I know everybody and I see so many beautiful aspects about everybody. How can we come together and support one another? How can we do that when we leave this call in between now and next week? I know not everybody knows each other on the call, but I encourage everybody to get connected. Get connected and let's support each other and build up a community. Let's become the change that we want to see in the world. I sound like Nelson Mandela.
I love it. Fabulous. Well, we have a little bit of homework.
Is everybody ready to do some homework? Are you guys willing to go to any length with this? Are we all ready to commit for our 4 weeks, do our homework? Let's see what we can build in 4 weeks. Let's share some great success and come on to, and we'll get a little bit deeper in what some of the hurdles are and some of the struggles. Today's like, but we'll dive deeper as we go through. Rachel's your homework giver. I'm going to be
I know I'm like the mean one, but the action is what makes the difference. So if you follow the steps, you'll definitely get further. So the first one, it's actually pretty easy homework. We're going to practice saying who we are and what we do. So getting comfortable with that. I think most of you are pretty comfortable with that. And then I want everyone to post once a day. Definitely use this one. Post us right now. Take a picture. Post once a day, thinking about that greater why, the different strategies that we can use, our story, thinking about kind of that empathy piece, what keeps our clients up at night, how can we help them, everything from that lens, catering to them. And then next week, we're going to dive into some more strategic stuff with our marketing, if that sounds good with everybody. And I was going to see, does anybody have questions that they wanted us to answer? And it can be as specific as you would like. I know some of you had messaged me. Kasha?
What brings, in your experience, like, do people watch more reels? Do they watch more stories? I've noticed posts aren't doing so well. Like, is that because of what I'm posting, or is it just the way it is? Or
I definitely, if you want to grow your account, you're going to want to do reels and carousels.
We're gonna get into carousels.
Yeah, we'll get more into this next week, at least in terms of Instagram. And like, I would focus on one platform to start, but you've been going hard on Instagram, so I know you're invested in that. Stories, they only go out to your followers, so the only people that see those are people who follow you. They're a great way to take an engaged account and let them know about offers that you have, and they do get pretty good views. In your case, I would want to be working on growth. Trial reels are something that we can talk about next week, and how you can use those to kind of push out to non-followers and try different things. And then the big thing is writing really good hooks. That's going to turn your content a little bit more, like keep people on the line a little bit longer. But you've been posting every day, so I think you're ready for the next step. I'm excited. Yeah, that's in overall, attention is a little bit down, as Jen said. We're definitely experiencing like attention is the new currency, and everyone kind of knows this, so we kind of have to increase our output a lot more than we used to have to. Like during COVID, it was so easy. Everybody was online all day. So we do have to push a little bit harder, but a lot of people are watching and they're just not saying. Eventually, likes and follows are going to be even less important, because our feeds are so well curated now that we don't even really, like, we're scrolling through, we're not liking anything really, if you think about it. You kind of have to remind yourself to do it when you're like scrolling through things. So more people are likely seeing your stuff than you think, but we can work on some strategies to up those views a little bit too.
Is there better times to post? Like always post around 7 a.m.
That's a good time to post. I found personally, I was finding mornings are good. You get that good 24-hour cycle. Things kind of get pushed out early. Um, that said, when I was shooting newborn photography, I would always do my reels at like 8 p.m. because my clientele were putting their kids to bed, and while their kids were falling asleep, they'd be scrolling on their phone. So I would find like if I posted then, I would get super high views and engagement. So it kind of depends on your audience, but as a rule, with the Gale Group account and Jen's accounts, I tend to post with her around like between 5 and 7 a.m., just so that people are starting their day. What do you do? A lot of people pick up their phone and they start looking. I'm bad for it, but it's also my job.
Sunday nights are a good time. I find engagement good on Sunday nights, anytime. Tuesdays are good. Tuesdays are also the best email day. So we're going to talk about some email marketing, which is the world heavyweight champion of marketing, which I'm excited to share with you guys. It's the most underrated tool that it gets the best traction. And really, honestly, anytime that you're going to do it, just get it out. Just like done is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect. That's our new motto. I'm gonna
That's
touch.
actually a good point, though. If you pick a time and do it consistently every day, your audience knows you're going to post every day at 9 a.m. That builds trust. There'll be YouTubers out there that will get messages when they haven't posted in a while. Where have you gone? Is everything okay? Like people will notice when you stop posting. So it's really pick a time and try to be as consistent as possible. But yeah, don't beat yourself up over it. Just get it done. Yeah.
Is there a split or anything you recommend in regards to how much personal? I mean, we're all in business, so that's really the emphasis of our posts, from my perspective. But you're the expert, obviously. But like, is there like, are you think like people do like 60/40, or is there even a rule in regards to business versus personal?
I don't think there is a rule. I think it depends on you. I do like to include a lot of value for clients. If your personal posts are adding value, and that might just be as far as keeping them feeling like they know you better, like it just kind of gets like that, like, hey, piece of my, it's the feel felt found thing. I'm not sure if I mentioned that earlier. You know, it kind of gives you that relatability. It can be good, but it works best with an engaged audience, those personal posts. Oddly, though, we have an agent in the office and she posts one post. She'll do a personal thing and she'll get like 80,000 views on it. I'm talking about Pam, Jen.
Oh yeah, Pam's like a social media celebrity. We didn't
She
know where
is.
it came from.
So it's really who you are and what your audience connects with. And a lot of it comes down to kind of experimentation and trial and error. You kind of learn this stuff like we're learning, like Jen and I were talking about this earlier. We're learning as we go. It's the algorithm changes, our audience changes, people kind of their tastes and what they want to see changes. So I say just try some things and see what sticks and always be open to changing your strategy up.
I think too, the most important thing is that I keep saying that it's always you. I know that we've all met people that we see online and then you meet them in person. You're like, whoa, you're in like nothing like that. It's so disappointing in the world that we live in now. So showing up authentically, and I think personal is good. I think it lets, in that marketing, they're saying professional, personal, inspirational, and cycle through that because you want to let people know who you are. And I think that we get afraid to post personal because we're like, I don't want everybody in my life, but I post all day, every day, and I guarantee that nobody knows what I do at night. They don't know that I'm in my like it's almost my bedtime right now. You guys all know that now. But letting people who know who you are, like your family person, the books you like to read, like, are you healthy? I don't think that we should be posting I don't think our audience wants to see us on a cruise ship, laying down in our bikinis. Like we got to think about what the world looks like out there too. So being careful not to, make people feel bad either. I think sometimes when you see a lot in real estate and they're like, oh, look at my watch, my car. Well, that doesn't make the consumer feel good. The consumer is going to be like, I don't want to give you any money. Why am I going to use you? You're always doing that stuff. So I think everybody here knows that though.
I think so, yeah. But it's worth repeating because it's like the selfish content thing. We always want to think, are we making selfish content where we're bragging about ourselves? Are we making content where we're getting in our consumer's head and we're making sure we're serving them? Serving is the big thing. Selling, not serving, or serving, not selling, and just making sure that we're adding value to their day. And I think, yeah, a lot of times that is personal stuff, especially if your business closely ties with anything in your personal life or that kind of daily journey I was sharing about earlier, like sharing about your day. I think that's totally awesome content, actually. Yeah. Did anybody else have anything else for me? You can always send me an email too. It's galegroupdesign@gmail.com if you have any questions. And yeah, we've got lots to cover next week.
Very excited to go on this journey with everybody here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was awesome.
I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you guys. Showing up is half the battle. That's a number one thing to success. Just show up.
Amazing. Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Bye, guys.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.
Bye.